There's that Bed Bath and Beyond, they send out coupons, they have sales too. That's far away from me. There's a couple of them. I hardly ever.
Before she gets started, a little side note on that granola. You will want to, after 2 stirrings, you will want to switch shelves with your granola because whichever one is closer to the burner element will get cooked through first. So switch shelves so the other one can get cooked. So just add that onto your notes.
Yes, it's in the kitchen.
Now, what are you doing the oat? Now?
I'll explain it as I do it, Kathy, I promise.
All right, honey. I just want to make sure I had the right recipe.
You're fine, you're fine. We're gonna do the oat apple waffle first. And that's because I have to have boiling water for the other waffles. The oat apple waffle is an entirely blender waffle. If you don't have a blender, you can follow the recipe and omit the apple. You could put some applesauce in to sweeten it. But be careful because the applesauce may brown quicker and you may need to watch it in the iron so it doesn't scorch or burn.
Even the unsweetened one will brown quicker?
Even the unsweetened one. If you have a blender, you're better off to do everything in the blender than you are to work with.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Kim. Okay, so it won't turn for me, so I'll just pick it up. All right, so in the waffle, you're simply going to put 2 cups of oats, and I use quick oats just because I use the rolled oats. If you like rolled oats, you're certainly welcome to use rolled oats. And you put in a teaspoon of salt. And you put in a whole apple, cut up. And I usually put in...
Do we have to peel them?
If you buy unwaxed apples, absolutely not. I don't want the wax from the grocery store apples in my waffle.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only reason that I peeled these. They're grocery store apples, and I don't want the wax from the apple skins, because at the grocery store they're all waxed. But I have organic apples that I bought that I use at home that have no wax on them, and I just wash them, peel them and core them and throw them, or no, don't peel them, just core them and throw them in the blender.
Okay.
And I often use, and I'm going to take out of this container because it won't hurt. I often throw in just a couple tablespoons of cashews just to add a little richness to the waffle. And this also makes pancakes. And then we're going to add to this, it actually calls for, the recipe calls for 2 cups of water. But I'm going to teach you a little secret about this recipe specifically. As you're working with it, it thickens. So if it gets super thick and it doesn't want to pour, add about another 1/4 cup of water to it and keep working with it. And it'll work just fine. You just kind of have to play with it and keep your thickness, what you need to be able to pour it. Also, you can pour this on a griddle and it makes great crepes, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Kim and I make crepes with it. It's really delicious. Just turn your blender on low. Let it do its job. You can add vanilla to this. You can add cinnamon to this. You can add cardamom and coriander to it if you like that. You know, you can add a little honey to it if you want it a little sweeter. There again, it may brown really quicker. So you're looking at how quickly you want it to brown. And we have waffle batter. So you take your waffle iron, and we're steaming already. That's a good sign.
Do you have to spray every time with this kind of recipe since you didn't put oil in the batter?
You actually don't have to spray it, but I am, the oats won't stick.
Oh, okay.
It's a strange thing, but if you get them done correctly, they won't stick. You just kind of want to fill your waffle iron, not too full. About 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of batter is all you want to do. And we're gonna use this bowl right here for the leftovers, because that's what the oats was in. So we can go ahead and start our other waffles. And if you watch this waffle iron, it wasn't quite hot enough, but as that gets hot, that batter's gonna raise. Because the oats raise naturally. Even though I put no leavening in there, the oats raise naturally.
I just have a question.
Yes.
I mean, these are questions that I don't know, so I have to ask.
Of course.
Do you have to put, when the temperature on the waffle iron, if it's adjustable, do you put it on high, medium, low,
I put it on medium high.
medium? High?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's 7 to 10 minutes for the waffle to get done. I've got this iron warming for the other mix that we're gonna be making. And its light's gone out already, so this one would be ready to just, yeah, it's ready. So let's make one of these, if the smoke don't kill me.
Okay.
Towel's right behind you.
Super, thank you. And that is the oat apple waffle. Super simple. A friend of mine used to say, you put your oats in water in the blender and your salt and your apple, and you blend it up and go take your quick 10-minute shower and come back and your waffle's done and ready for breakfast. And that's really true. A nice thing about these waffles is they freeze well and they warm well in a toaster. So once you've got them made up, and I love the square waffle iron for that reason, because the square waffles, each little square is a perfect piece of toast. And John would actually say, honey, when are you making waffles? So these were John's favorite.
Wow.
Now, my Waffle Perfect, which I need a copy of my recipe, because I haven't made the Waffle Perfect in 18 years.
Here it is. This is an extra.
Thank you very much. All right, so in the Waffle Perfect, which is just a variety of grain rather than just one grain, you're going to take 2.5 cups of quick oats, and you're going to take 3/4 of a cup of whole wheat flour and 3/4 of a cup of cornmeal. And then you're going to take your apple, your cashews,
Does it make a big difference in what kind of nuts you use?
no,
Okay.
you use pecans, walnuts. I just use raw cashews because it gives it a milky texture. And then it calls for 1 cup of seeds. What I've done is done 1/3 cup of sunflower seeds, 1/3 cup of flax seed, and 1/3 cup of sesame seeds. So you have a variety of seeds in the waffle. You pour that all into the blender, and the salt was in there also, the 1 teaspoon of salt. And then you add 1 cup of water. Is the tea kettle boiling yet, Carrie?
Not yet.
Okay. We add 1 cup of water to this. Again, you can add vanilla, cinnamon, other flavorings to it if you want. I like it pretty plain. Because that's on the thick side, the rest of the water that I add is, I have to add 4.5 more cups of water. But instead of doing it all boiling, I'm going to do another half of water in this mix, so it'll pour out of the blender easier. I just want to blend that until it kind of gets to be like a paste. And And then like Carrie, you kind of want to mix your dry ingredients together, just so that you've got a good mixture on them.
I'm just asking a question on the waffles.
Yes.
Since some cooks, they just know instinctively. I'm kind of ignorant, so you just kind of know by the light or just by looking at it? How do you know?
Well, I know they're not, they have to be 7 to 10 minutes to be done.
Do you use a timer or you just kind of tell?
You can set a timer.
Okay.
Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, your tea kettle is boiling.
I need it now.
Once they've dried up a bit more, there's not very much steam coming out.
Okay. As you can tell, it has
So now we're going to go ahead and pour this in. And if this is awful, I apologize. I haven't made them, like I said, in too many years. Can you wash that for me? Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. And here, I'm gonna hand this right. We'll go ahead and do that and come back and then I'll hand it to you.
Oh, I love that kettle. That's pretty.
Thank you. My kitchen is done in pansies. All right, thank you, Carrie. You mix that ingredients from the blender into your dry mix. Kind of start stirring that around so that that's kind of mixed in good. And then what you do is you add, the recipe is 4 to 4.5 cups, but we used a half a cup, remember, in the blender. So we're just gonna do 4 cups of hot water. And one thing about this waffle mixture, you have to stir it every time before you bake it, because you did not blend your grains. So to keep your grains evenly distributed, every time before you're going to put batter in the waffle iron, you've got to re-stir it. And if you want to step up here real quickly individually, it's a very runny batter if you want to step up and see the batter.
So that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Does it make, since the whole wheat is not a major portion, does it matter whether it's white whole wheat or regular whole wheat?
Nope. This is white whole wheat.
Oh, okay.
This is the, I have it there, it's the prairie wheat, that's the white. The light spring wheat, that's what it is. See, it's pretty runny.
Okay.
See how runny that is?
That's for this.
And so that sits. And if it's not on the recipe, write it down. Let it sit 10 minutes before you bake it. Is the blender jar ready?
Yeah, can you get dry?
I don't need it dried.
So with this recipe here, does it really thicken up when you let it sit? Or does it not?
It'll thicken a little bit, but you're still gonna stir it every time before you add it to the waffle iron. And as we're working along here, we definitely want to keep an eye on our waffles. See, I didn't spray this one, and it stuck a little bit. But it's done. I need a plate from the kitchen.
Okay.
Thank you, Carrie, for being my gopher. I appreciate that more than you know.
No, you said bake it. You mean before you put it in the griddle or the, okay. Let it sit before you cook it for 10 minutes. It's also very hard.
And this is a little bit deeper waffle iron. Yes, it's very hot. It's a little bit deeper waffle iron than I have at home. My waffle iron at home isn't quite so deep. So if you want to struggle with it a little, don't use no stick spray. If you don't want to struggle with it, use no stick spray.
Debbie, the one you just done, is that the only one you have to let sit 10 minutes before you?
Yes, ma'am. As soon as you blend this, you can use it.
Okay.
And
I guess we should write it down on the recipe.
Yes, write it
And
down.
you
If I
got
don't have it on the
anything
recipe,
I need to borrow?
please write it down.
so I noticed these waffles are
Where your pins is.
darker brown. That happens with just blended apples. With applesauce, it gets even more brown, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I've never done it, so I don't know. But if you don't have a blender, when I started with this waffle recipe, I need a fork.
I think Linda's going to get something.
No, Linda went upstairs.
Oh,
I need a fork.
oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Raven. I can break them loose with a fork quicker than I can this way. But see how nice and brown that is?
I like that.
With that little bit of no stick spray, that and see how it raised? See how that raised?
That's nice.
It's a raised waffle. It's not, now they do get a little limp when they sit. So if you want to sample it fresh, without a topping on it, here. Just wait, we're gonna send them up to you. Did you want to get a picture of it? Is that what you were doing? I'm gonna break them up so we can sample them. Raven's gonna serve them to you, just sit still. I don't have any toppings for you to sample with them, but we will have them. When we get them. This one's a little soggy and doesn't bake quite long enough, but they can try it still.
She's want to give it away. I love it. She's talking about the bottom one. Yeah, I just turned it around. Oh, I think I covered that.
Just let everybody try one. Thank you very
I
much.
just want that one. Oh, I thought we was gonna get a big old plate of it.
You will after we have our classes and it's complete. There'll be toppings and everything to go with it. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna demonstrate for you is I'm gonna demonstrate sugar, no sugar added strawberry jam.
Which one is this one that we're eating?
That's the oat waffle. This is no sugar added strawberry jam. And it should be in the recipes. If I didn't write it down, I'll have to get you one.
I think it's right here.
Oh, that was good.
So what I did is I took 1 pound of dried pineapple chunks and I put them in this bowl. And then I took a pound of frozen strawberries and put it on top. And I let it kind of sit for the strawberries to thaw a little bit. Just set them on the edge of the table, it's fine. And you let them sit overnight. The only reason to let them sit overnight is it's the easiest way to not break a blender. Your pineapple chunks are hard when you start working. How do you rinse that?
What do you do while you're letting them sit overnight?
The pineapple chunks, which I'll show you, that's a pineapple chunk. See how it has absorbed the strawberry juice in it?
Oh,
and it's not dry anymore. This is what I started with. 1 pound of dried, low sugar pineapple chunks. All dried fruit has some sugar on it. So I purchased the one that's low sugar, so it doesn't have a lot of refined sugar with it. And then you pour your berries. You can use fresh. Just mash them and make them juicy. And pour them over there and put it in the fridge overnight.
And with the strawberry juice.
You want the juice in there because the juice is what's going to soften your pineapple tidbits.
Now, you didn't add water to it, right?
No ma'am, this is just strawberries, frozen strawberries, and dried pineapple chunks.
That's smart.
That are low sugar.
That's smart.
And then you go ahead and blend it with your blender.
That's smart.
If you like your jam a little chunky, don't blend it completely smooth. It just depends on how you like your jam. I like mine to be blended well. I think it makes a difference in the flavor. Uh-oh. Did I just kill my blender?
The light went out on the power strip.
Oh, I stepped on the cord.
I thought the breaker.
No, I know what we did. We blew a fuse.
The breaker.
The breaker.
The waffle line.
You guys know where the breaker
I can
is?
experiment, but no guarantees.
Do you know where the breaker is? I got it, Russell. Thank you, sir. So you just blend that up. And my daughter Mandy, when I went home and told her in February, well, I'm going to a no sugar vegan lifestyle. The Lord's convicted me. That's what I need to do. And she goes, Mom, I can't live with you as the main cook in the house as a vegan. It's not going to work. I said, Mandy, I never forced you to be a vegan before. I'm not going to force you now. And my funny story is, everything I cook, she says it's better than I used to make. I made a big batch of oat burgers before I left town for them to have to cook up while I was out of town in March. She said, Mom, was the best oat burgers you've ever made, bar none, and there wasn't first egg in them. No eggs whatsoever. The oats hold them together. And so your oats are a great binder. Potato starch is another great binder if you're wanting to try things without so much leavening and additives to it.
Potato starch, let's see, what is potato starch, is it in a powder?
Okay, that didn't do the outlets.
What is potato starch, is it in a powder? Yeah.
Oh, it did, we're good.
So Debbie, can you use that in replace of eggs if you prefer?
Yes. There's egg replacer you can buy at the store.
No, if somebody doesn't do egg replacer.
Well, you can use
potato starch?
oats. It depends on what your recipe is, but you can use oats or potato starch in place of eggs in a recipe. But you have to know how to add the fluid and things, so you'd still need to talk to somebody that can help you with that.
Even if
Kathy.
somebody eats eggs and they don't want and they have the other, it's not
You can't use it in place of cooking eggs, no.
Yes, up next.
And there we have strawberry jam, and it does thicken as it sits. And there's your texture. And I can't wait for you to taste it, because it tastes like you just picked the berries out of the garden. It tastes just like freezer jam. Now, how many of you have ever made freezer jam in your life? How many cups of sugar, how many cups of berries for a package of freezer jam?
In a long time, but it's a lot.
2 cups of sugar
1 cup of berries.
to 1 cup of berries and a package of Sure Gel. Go check out your prices, and I think you'll find, money-wise,
Right.
this is a good deal. Because the Sure Gel is almost $2 a box,
Dry.
and 2 cups of sugar, however much you pay for sugar, and then your strawberries. So, this 1 pound of pineapple chunks cost me $3.38. By the time you buy your Sure Gel and your sugar, and you add your strawberries, your price is the same, and it's better for you and your family. And I got this at the Mennonite store up by me and Marie. They carry them down here also, do they not?
Oh, nice.
I also made date butter, which is this bowl on the corner over here. Now I'm going to show you things that I bought at the Mennonite store. This is a package of dates that have been rolled in oat flour. Makes great date butter. You put it in a saucepan, barely cover it with water. Bring it to a boil until your dates are tender, and then pour it in a food processor and blend it until it's smooth. Same thing with these. This is pitted dates. Mennonites sell both of these at the Mennonite store, and they're reasonable. These pitted dates were $2.99. This dates with the flour on it were $2.41. So a little cheaper for the date chunks with the flour, but these all make great date butter. The date butter that you're having today is made from dates from California. I buy from a place in California called Brown's Date Garden, and I buy them several pounds at a time. And Brown's Date Garden is a wonderful place to buy from. It's a family-owned business, and it's brownsdategarden.com. And they have barhi dates, and they have medjool dates, and they're like eating candy. And when you boil the barhi dates, they have such a fatty consistency to them that fat floats on the top of the water when you cook them. So, yes.
Can you say that website again?
It is Brown's Date Garden. If you just key in Brown's Date Garden, you will find it. And it's in California. And they just harvested dates in March. So, if you want to order dates, now's a great time because they have the best supply right now. They harvest their dates in our spring. Okay, and I made a blueberry sauce. And you have that recipe as well. The blueberry sauce is made from, it's any frozen concentrated juice. I had Welch's grape juice. So that's what I put in the skillet, or in the pan. And I added 1 cup of water. And then I added 1 pound of blueberries. And I added 3 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch. You could actually add 4 if you wanted it a little thicker. It's soupy, but it's a sauce to go on your waffles. So that would be what I have for toppings. I've got date butter, I've got the blueberry sauce, and I've got the strawberry jam. And I'm going to make one of these waffle perfect for you to see it. And I'm gonna haul my stuff to the kitchen and get out of the way so everybody else can do the rest of their recipes. I hate waste.
You said Browns, B-R-O-N.
BROWNS, Browns.
Date Garden?
Date Garden. Mhm.
Okay, .com?
I don't know if it's .com, just key in Brown's Date Garden and you'll pull it up.
Okay.
I buy quite a few because you get a shipping deal on them if you buy more. So when I had my income tax return last year, I bought 2 cases of the Bar High, B-A-R-H-I, and 2 cases of the Medjool. And then I wrapped them and froze them by the pound. So you can just take them out and use them.
But they store well without freezing as well.
They do, I just
They
freeze
sugar
them just
after a
because
while.
we weren't using a lot of them when I bought them.
Sugar. So they look all grainy inside, but they're not bad. You just, like honey does. Honey crystallizes.
Okay.
But if you don't have a freezer, you can hold a long time.
Okay.
It did thicken up quite a bit, Pastor.
Okay, so let's see, this is the waffle, perfect waffle.
Yeah, see how thick it is now, guys?
Okay.
It did thicken up pretty nicely.
Okay.
So you just fill your waffle iron.
Also with the dates, because we don't have freezer space and stuff, you can also put them in a candy jar and do a vacuum pack, and they keep forever.
And I am gonna tell you that this
Okay,
batter's too
put
thick,
them in
you're
a
gonna have
vacuum
too heavy a waffle.
That's small.
So I'm adding water. Because if it's real thick like that, your waffles get so heavy that they're not enjoyable. So you just kind of learn to know what you want your batter to look like. Now I'm kind of back to that soupier looking batter we had before. See? But that's gonna make a lighter, airier waffle. It's gonna make a better flavored waffle.
So it has to. Okay. Got this one.
Russell, if you wanna go ahead and start, you can.
Okay. So, in my family, I do all the frying.
Yeah.
You can actually make potatoes, roasting them in the oven. That gets rid of the oil. Just do a little bit of light cooking spray on them. But unfortunately, I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm doing the old standard southern fry. I use a non-stick skillet because that lets me use a lot less oil to do the cooking. But
Now,
anyway,
you talking
I have
about,
some
Anthony, that skillet, you use a lot less oil using that?
non-stick.
Okay.
If you use something like the good old black cast iron skillets, you're going to probably go through a cup or 2 of oil to keep it from sticking to it.
Or a griddle one.
But this, I can do it with about an 1/8 cup or a little less. Anyway, I have some taters that are already chopped up, and my son got really dedicated and chopped them super fine. You don't have to chop them this fine, but the finer they are, the quicker they cook. So if you want it to cook up real quick, you'll chop them finer. Whereas if you don't mind taking your time, you can chop them bigger.
May I add something to it? I just wonder, I know if you boil potatoes a little bit before you fry them.
But they taste different.
Oh,
It changes the
He's
taste.
doing an American fry is what he's doing.
oh, he's
and
doing it
that's-
different, okay.
Yes, that's why.
American fried
Okay.
means
All
just
of
straight
these-
fry.
Just straight fry.
Yeah, just fried from raw.
Here, honey. All right, so I like to do my potatoes with the skin on it. So of course you have to be picky about those. You can't, if you get little things like this, dirt will get in that, and then you got gritty in your potatoes. So you do have to trim out the sections that have been spayed or the damage. You'll want to go over it and make sure that you get all the black spots out, stuff like that you just don't want to eat. Some people like to take the eyes out. I don't care. I haven't noticed any difference between the two.
I had an idea, what if you took a grater, like a vegetable grater? Would that make it fine enough without being too fine to grate your potatoes?
If you're making hash browns, that would work great.
No, I mean in this recipe though.
It'll make a different texture.
Oh, but it needs to be
That's what we
cubed, is it cubed in this one?
Yes, they're cubed
Oh,
in here.
cubed, oh, okay, cubed.
So anyway, once you take all that damaged off of it, I don't bother taking the rest of the skin off. I don't mind it that way, but then I just go and slice them fairly thin.
Very sour. In what way?
Hey, Carrie?
So what's the best deal for potatoes that you found?
$6 for 50 pounds.
Where at?
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville, wow,
Yeah,
$6.
You spend all that gas on Nashville.
Well, when you send Daniel Titus for you, it's not near as expensive. And of course, I'm making a mess, and I apologize for that.
So essentially, wow, $6 for 50.
Well, now, they say red potatoes is better for you, so you can use red potatoes in these, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, it does not matter. And I've heard people using sweet potatoes. I'm no fan, but
Do not burn yourself.
anyway. So you can see how I cube them up. They're fairly fine. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be fancy, but anyway. Next thing, for the 5 potatoes, it's a half an onion. You can put more in if you like. Some people like onions a lot. They put in a whole onion. Me personally, half an onion's fine.
Just kidding, no.
And I like to let the layers of the onion help me out. Anyway, fresh mushrooms add a nice taste to it. Again, not necessary. If you don't like mushrooms, no problem, leave them out. If you do like them, you can do it this way. If you want to use canned mushrooms, you can, but I would add those towards the end of the cooking cycle, simply because they're already been cooked down.
So is there a good place that you get mushrooms?
I just pick them up at Walmart.
Okay, Sarah.
Kroger, Food Line, Walgreens.
All these, they're
Okay.
cheaper.
Anyway,
It's a good place to get
my taste is about 4 caps. Some people, if you don't like mushrooms as much, but you do want them, you can add half that. If you really love them and you want more, doesn't hurt to add more.
More what, mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Anything.
Oh, anything?
It doesn't matter. I mean, the
Yes.
beauty of this recipe is you can play with the taste. So, less salt, more salt, less garlic, more garlic,
I have an
anything you
idea.
want.
I have an idea. What about cutting up red bell pepper and it's small for color?
If you would like that, I'm sure that it would be very good in it. I hate bell pepper.
Oh,
I hate all
okay.
pepper. So, for me, it's not something I would even consider adding to some people. If you like it, more flavor, it's good for you.
I'm thinking color too, besides that, I'm thinking color.
And it might even look good, I don't know. I've never done it because I just don't like the peppers. But
Now, I don't know if it'd be too weird to put like for color, grate up, I don't know if you like carrot or not, or if it'd be too
I
weird.
would not
just so-
put carrot in it.
I know it would taste good, but just something for color, I think.
Oh, and if you're gonna want the collards, put red bell pepper in.
Some future straight concentrate. You can be on here and all the lemon juice.
Anyway, my garlic clove is missing, so I've gotta go hunt that down. I'll be right back.
I don't work when you put it right there. Carrot, the color, it only fixes a few, just something. If I didn't have the bell pepper, I don't know.
An hour?
Maybe not, right?
Kim, when he finishes, we'll clear that in and you can set up down there.
This is straight out of the Titus's garden, so, it is not your typical store-bought garlic clove, you know, where they're so tiny, but it's also a better flavor.
Yeah, it's interesting. I tasted it.
So, take the outer case off of it, and then I don't mince them fine just because I'm too impatient. You can get actual tools that allow you to mince it. You just stick your clove in and you just crush it down, but these cloves are actually a little large for those. You have to cut them a couple of times to get them to fit. And another nice thing about garlic is if you've got a runny nose
More like watery eyes.
and you can tolerate it, that's a case where the cure is worse than the disease almost.
Some people don't think so.
I don't add a whole lot of oil. It doesn't take a whole lot with the nonstick skillet, so.
Yeah.
I like garlic. It doesn't like me.
I used to be used to all
If
now.
you look at me after like a day of eating, I just mix it with email, very little, just my breath is bad. My daughter's.
You should have heard the story Mimi found. Mimi!
And then I do a little bit of stirring right at the beginning, just to make sure the oil's down at the bottom where it belongs, get it a little bit mixed up. I have Morningstar breakfast links. I typically add those about halfway through just so they don't get overcooked, because I don't like them when they're all brown and hard and all that. So about halfway through I add those. And let it cook. Now, moving on to the next recipe I've got,
Which one is that?
homemade ketchup. I don't like store-bought ketchup. It's full of sugar and vinegar and all kinds of stuff. So we actually know how to make our own. So you'll take 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Spoon that out into your bowl, and if I were a more organized cook, I'd have had all this prepared in advance, but I'm a procrastinator by nature, so you get to watch me do my work.
Just, well, the potatoes and stuff are cooking, about how long does that take to cook and be ready?
Depends on how fine you cook them, you cut them. If you cut them up real fine, 15 minutes. If you cut them up thick, 30. This will be somewhere in the middle of that.
Use the Heinz, but this is.
Anyway,
I'm
so,
not gonna use.
and then 1/3 cup of water, 1/3 cup of lemon juice. Don't forget to shake it up.
And don't you work
It actually tastes really good, and you hardly notice the lemon juice.
I like the.
Probably because you put 2 tablespoons of sugar in it.
Or now, you can, like, if you don't have that and you have like a whole lemon, you can just squeeze regular,
Squeeze the
Yeah,
whole lemon,
lemon, yeah.
just 1/3 cup of lemon juice.
I got it. This sounds awesome.
It is, I've tasted his, but
I like
That
brown
recipe
sugar
is
as
similar.
well. Brown sugar is very good.
well, I like this recipe because it looks simple.
It is.
And not all
No
recipes.
cooking, no fancy extra.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I mean, you just put it together, whiz it up, and you're ready to have ketchup.
Well, that tomato paste is so small, it's easy.
Good if you wanted to. I
Is that
don't.
garlic?
This is onion powder, so 1/3 or 1/2 tablespoon.
not so well. We used to do that, and I never could do that.
Yeah, you can use that one too.
You know, do a sandwich or something.
You do need to spray that down with no spray, only because it's a stubborn
The
still.
only sad part is you have to have measuring cups to get this done. So the only sad part is you have to have measuring cups to get it done.
Well, unless you cook like me. And I'm a dash of this and a pinch of that kind of cook, so. The only reason I'm doing it with the measuring cups is
So people can understand.
so y'all can see it being done. And then, 1/8 tablespoon of garlic. Not a whole lot.
Now, putting, whole garlic would be too strong, wouldn't it?
What's that?
Would whole garlic, using whole
If
garlic
you
would
like
be
it,
too
it's
strong?
really good.
Oh, okay,
I've made
okay.
it with that, and it's really
I'm just,
And
yeah.
then
Gives it a little bit of a
you'll
spicy.
want to take your wire whip and whip it up.
I love my garlic press.
You don't have to use the
Of
blender.
course, I love powdered
Not for
garlic.
this.
Not if you want, don't want to,
Quicker.
but you can if you do. It's faster that way. I mean, if you want to just dump it all in the blender and whiz it up, that would be a little bit faster, but,
Is it more like watery ketchup or is it the same thing?
It's
well,
pretty
you'll be
much
able to
like
see the
ketchup.
consistency here in just a minute.
I can fix that one,
I like doing that thing.
I do too. I like them salt.
You guys may think it's strange when you come to ketchup, and then I make your all their own ketchup and their own barbecue sauce and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a
Curious,
whole
where'd
lot
you find
healthier.
this recipe? Where'd you find this recipe?
You'd have to ask my mama that question. She made it for me one day and I said, that was outstanding. So, as you can see, the consistency is very similar to regular ketchup.
It's simple, I just love this idea. Tell your mama I said thanks. I'm glad she told you about the recipe. Had it.
tomato mix it up.
That's,
Yeah.
And
Yay.
Yay.
so, for those that like ketchup on their fried potatoes, but you don't want the garlic and you don't want all the processed stuff,
People are just out to get more.
You have this one on purpose of nice onions, like an apple applesauce, or just tomato. That was one of those recipes where I,
Make it homemade.
isn't it rice? You see rice?
now, one more thing. They're getting ready to demonstrate making homemade sausages. Rather than the store-bought stuff, if you like the sausages, you can use their homemade sausages as well. I figure about a cup for the 5 potatoes would be adequate.
Sister Marie, is there a recipe for this one?
Yeah. I like yours is simple.
I love simple cooking.
oh, yes.
I do not like getting fancy and complicated.
Got a big family.
Some things and stuff's okay, but it's.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Simple is the
good
best.
to have it simple, I love it.
Simple as.
And the nice thing is, you know, you can have the kids cutting up the potatoes, and if you got a big skillet, just all at one time, cook it all up. Everybody comes, and we actually make a meal of this because it's got the protein, it's got the vegetables. So.
Necessarily something that are decent flavored. I just was not impressed.
I'm gonna shut the door and put down the noise of the children. I don't know if y'all are familiar with extra vegetable protein, that it's very dry, granulated stuff. And what you do, you add water to it, and you let it soak up the water. Now I have, the unsausage recipe does use eggs, so those of you who are vegans, if you want to try to figure out how to do it without eggs, go for it. What I did was that, back when we had 14 kids in our home, and of course they were all meat eaters, and so, and sausage, you can't, that vegetarian stuff is so expensive. So I actually took a sausage recipe, a real sausage recipe, and converted it. And that's how I came up with this recipe.
Now, where else can you buy the TVP besides, I know you can the Adventist, it's at the place in Collegedale, but the Mennonites, do they have the TVP too, or?
No, you can get it online, and I will need some of that.
Well, grab it, because Miss Debbie needs it.
You can get it online, you can get it at Wildwood, most Seventh-day Adventist stores.
Maybe the Country Life, catalog, I'm hoping it
Yeah,
has it in it.
they would probably have it.
I'm hoping I've still got my catalog.
Something better, natural foods.
So you add the hot water to this,
So you get it on.
and I already
Yeah.
put all the seasonings together, and I just dump everything together. So there's all the herbs in there. Here's the soy sauce.
Is there, do you have a preferred
Oil.
beef style seasoning, poultry seasoning, or is that?
I do, no, I use a vegetarian beef style seasoning, and I've used several different kinds. I've used the Bragg soy sauce, and it works just as well.
Okay. So it sounds like.
And one time I did, make this vegan, but I used, what I had to use was self-rising flour in place of the eggs. And, so if you wanna make it vegan, you can do that with the self-rising flour. You need her suit, yes, and her suitcase is in the back of my car.
So are you saying without the bread, but if you did that, you wouldn't use the breadcrumbs, right? If they use the self-rising flour?
Yeah, you'd skip the breadcrumbs, thank you, Kathy.
So the purpose of the eggs are more for like a.
It's kinda like a
tease it.
binder.
It's a
Binder,
binder,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure it does add a flavor to it as well.
It does add a flavor to it. And then you mix it up, and it's very simple. The kids in our home love this stuff. And this recipe, you'll probably want to cut in half because it makes a huge batch.
How much is this recipe batch the way it is? What does it yield in cups?
Oh my.
Is that your sausage you're making?
Yeah, it's probably, close to 2 quarts of batter. And then what I do is
About a third of a cup per patty.
some like, or 1/4 of a cup. That's what I would figure is 1/4 of a cup.
So that would be,
I like the way it looks.
And what did you put in it? Is that got veggie burger in it?
This has TVP.
Okay.
And I've used the beef TVP. Even though I add the vegetarian beef sauce seasoning, I did use the beef TVP. Because it just adds more flavor.
I'll get one, I didn't count
And that's it on that. It's very simple. We'll make it up into patties, and y'all can try some of that later. I'll finish cooking it up in the kitchen. They've already passed it out. Okay.
Can I want? And the young sausage is the same, right?
Yes.
Y'all
Yep.
got what? What do you have, sausage? All right.
Okay, the breakfast rice, I've got two different kinds here. I have one that's
really?
She'll give you
vegan,
something to pass out.
Oh, okay.
and I have one that's vegetarian.
That, okay.
Wanna hand this out?
Isn't that already handed out?
No, we just
Okay.
got sausage, I just took with me.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the breakfast rice, I pre-cooked my rice because if your rice is pre-cooked like the night before, you just throw this stuff together and then you're done with this recipe in 15, 20 minutes. That makes it really easy. It's the same thing with the unsausage. You throw the stuff together, you're done with it in like 15, 20 minutes. So, and I have to have stuff that's fast. And I need a spoon. Did you get me a spoon? So the two different kinds, and one thing I do not put on this you need to be aware of, when you're using tofu plus the eggs, you have to increase the beef style seasoning by an extra tablespoon, the soy sauce by an extra tablespoon, and the garlic and onion powder has to be heaping, because the tofu will really make it bland if you don't really
Okay.
double.
Are you saying use tofu and
In my
place
place.
of the egg?
If you're
Oh.
using tofu in place of the eggs.
But I thought you could do the self-rising flour.
We're on
Oh, we're on the breakfast rice, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry about that. And you can put that on your breakfast rice, that if you don't want to use eggs, you can use the self-rising flour.
I'm just asking a question because Asian style of cooked rice is no salt in the rice. When you cook your brown rice, you put salt in it already?
I do salt and olive oil in it.
Okay, cool.
Now, the other thing that I do like doing the mushrooms and the onions and the bell peppers in it,
Oh,
but you don't have to, those are optional.
about how much?
That's up to every person, however much you want. I leave that up to the individual. And do we have anyone in here allergic to mushrooms? Is anyone allergic to bell peppers or onions? Okay, we just found out that Kathleen's allergic to cashews, so Debbie's gonna make a waffle batter without cashews.
Well, at least the one that
Did you say you needed another spoon?
pretty.
Do I?
Did you say you needed another?
Yes, I do, honey. Thank you, dear. And that's it. You mix that up and you put it in a pan and let it cook. I just don't feel like it's not hot. This one hot? Okay, I must not know how to work these skillets because they don't feel hot. Is the power strip on?
Maybe this one is most of your.
Oh, it's off. Okay, we do another break.
No, it's this one is off.
Okay, now it just came back on. Okay.
This thing wasn't all.
Okay. So I put both on the recipe for you guys, and I'm making both recipes, just so that those of you that, want vegan can try the vegan. Okay, tell Debbie if she wants to, she can come work on her cashew milk. With her cashew milk going on. Is there any questions?
It looks yummy.
You sure can. do we want to, Debbie, do we want to take these skillets into the kitchen and I'll just work on the stuff in there? So there'd be more room out here.
We take the spare dishes to the kitchen right on the back of my mind.
Okay.
And sit over here.
He's got that hot plate with me.
Sorry guys, I forgot the cashew milk when I was doing all my stuff, and
You know, if you were
I couldn't believe the
to,
recipe was passed
I'll
out.
probably sell that at a store, the ketchup, it'd probably be, I believe people would buy it, organic, no, it's not really organic. More like healthy ketchup.
Yeah, but, how long do you think it would be before Hunt's or, any of these other big companies would shut me down?
Really bad.
Really fast, that's right. If they couldn't buy me out, they'd shut me down.
Yeah, find out then.
Of course, they'd buy me out and put all their chemicals in it.
Ah.
Is there any kind of vegetarian style organic restaurant? I've never seen one. So-
There isn't
I
any.
saw one in Macon, Georgia.
Slugger.
There's a few around, but,
There's some in Chattanooga.
you have to go places like Chattanooga or,
There's a place in McMinnville. Have you seen that place? Actually, my husband was going through the grocery line in Walmart. You know, I said, would you get a few things for me? There's always produce. This lady's behind him and she said, are you vegetarian? He said, yes. She stood there for a second and she said, I bet you're vegan. And he said, yes. And she said, I have a restaurant. She told him where it was. And I looked at it, it might be called a juice bar, or I don't know, we have never been there.
Because I have to rewash them because they land on the table and you have
Where
to
is
sit
this?
on the
Wow.
table. But where?
What was the address? What's the address?
Sorry.
What road is it
I'll try to
on?
look it up and then,
If it's in the
because
it is vegetarian, it could pull up.
Sister Marie's had a cast iron and skillet.
I use cast iron at home, but these are the electric skillets.
Okay.
oh.
It's gonna take them much longer.
You know, at
For what area?
Reversing Diabetes Clinic, the lady who was in my group,
Turn it all the way up to the highest it'll go.
she came first.
So it's the best you're gonna get.
She was pretty close to this lady.
You can't run them both on the same outlet. You're gonna have to move down there where his outlets are with one of them.
Okay.
What's the name of the place?
Juicy's Wellness Cafe, that's it.
Juicy's well.
All right.
These aren't gonna only do.
Would you take that and wash them in hot water and bring them back to me?
That's
It'll only take,
I like
it'll
about
only
taking
take
all those
one
little
electric
things that
skillet
on
like
the
that at a time.
What can it take to blend?
And then what is it? Is your phone
It
number?
should, yes. Here, these can go to the kitchen, please, to your mother. Stand here, I'll put you to work.
931-474-2233.
Now they'll get hot, Marie, I'm sorry.
I feel bad I've never gone there, but,
What was the last thing?
we were gonna go out to eat once for
2233.
something, and Richard's like, what about that place? And we were already out in the house,
I'm gonna write that down on the
and
phone
he
and
didn't
write
remember
it
the name of it or where it was, and we searched around and we ended up doing Chinese instead.
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna demo your cashew milk for you. Cashew milk is real simple. It's 1 cup of rinsed cashews. They're raw.
Is it Japanese, Chinese, Asian, hibachi?
Because I'm making it as a milk, I'm putting just 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there. Just for a little bit of flavoring. So you take 1 cup of raw cashews, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, because we're gonna use it as a milk. I use it mostly for sauces and gravies. And actually, when I was up in Wisconsin, I had some vegan lady, or some ladies that ate everything that was called food. And I served my cashew white sauce as sour cream with our Mexican dinner. And they all went, oh, this is amazing. And so you'd be amazed at what cashew cream can do to replace dairy products. It's pretty profound. So you start with 1 cup of cashews, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of water. Now the whole recipe calls for 4 cups of water total. But can anybody tell me why you'd only start with 1 cup of water?
Because it blends better.
Because you want smooth milk. So you have to be patient when you make cashew milk. You have to let your blender do its job, or you'll have chunky milk and it will be awful.
You got a roaster?
Now, as you saw, when I turned that on, before the cashews started to thin out, my cashews all popped up to the top of this blender. So I've got all kinds of cashew chunks up here on top. So you want to stop, and you want to take a spoon or bowl scraper or whatever, and just scrape them nuts back down into your liquid, or you're not going to have smooth cashew milk. And I made a cashew cheese with a couple of young ladies up north, and it didn't have a real good flavor, and we started looking at the texture of it. The cashews weren't smooth. So even though we thickened it, I put it back in the blender, and I re-blended it until I had super smooth cashews. And that is the secret to making good cashew cheese and cashew milk. Patience to blend it long enough to have no chunks, no lumps, no thickness in your nuts. So you just let it blend. When I'm at home, I go find something else to do in the kitchen and come back and let it blend about 2 minutes. Because I've always got other things going on in the kitchen. Now, if you wanted to make cashew gravy with this, you could put in a teaspoon of salt, and you could put in about 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and at least a teaspoon of garlic powder, and you would have added 2 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch.
Are you talking about for gravy or what?
Make gravy. It's written on the bottom of the recipe. And then you cook it on the stove until it thickens. And that makes the best cashew white sauce. You can use it for cream cheese, country gravy. We use it at my house a lot for a lot of things. I keep a bowl of it in my refrigerator all the time.
Do you know, is that the same stuff that April makes?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that the same kind of gravy that April's son makes or April makes? Or
No.
They make something.
They make a country gravy, but it's packaged gravy.
Oh, okay. But I thought they did something that was, they did something one time I thought it was a homemade one time I thought.
That would be flour and water and, or flour and milk. Make the homemade. That is,
Oh, they, regular,
old-fashioned country
regular,
gravy.
when they did that, they was using
They
regular
use it
oil.
with regular milk and oil and flour.
See, years ago, before I put it in the pork, I would use the root from the, so I was just trying to do it without the,
And Kim is going to demonstrate for us when she gets up here. She's actually going to make a bacon out of tofu, and it is amazing. Bacon? All right, yes. And now we're going to add 3 more cups of water to our cashew mix. Just giving it a chance. If there's any little chunks or pieces, give it a chance. Maybe a little bit. Make sure it's smooth enough.
Now for the gravy, would you add the same kind of water?
What?
For the gravy, would you add the same kind of water?
Yes, ma'am. 1 cup of nuts to 4 cups of water is always the rule when making nut milk. Do the same thing with almonds as you do with the cashews. Make almond milk or cashew milk with the same recipe. It's 1 cup of almonds, just like it's 1 cup of cashews, to 4 cups of water. And there we have it, guys. It's milk. See it? And we'll have it out here for you to taste it and for you to have it over granola if you'd like. We'll have it out here in a pitcher for you to try it. Please carry that carefully. Kitchen.
First, I can't handle too much nuts. I mean, I have my handful, and I even wet some off, and that's raw because that's what happened. But, so basically, I just do the granola, which is just oats, and I think I